Hello. You know, today on the news in New York, Governor Hochul is planning on raising taxes on people that have a second home in New York. Uh, that's worth over $5 million. You're going to have a tax increase if you own a house and it's a second home. And, well, I got news for you. Most houses in New York City are worth over $5 million. So that affects a lot of people, you know. And I don't know the classification of a second home. A lot of these people own a Florida home or North Carolina home on the beach, and they go there in the summer, or they go to Florida in the winter. So their apartment in the city is their second home. I don't know how that classification would work on your taxes. I'm sure the tax preparer would uh, call it your first home and your Florida home your second home to avoid the tax. I mean, this is the problem with taxing the rich. They have options. You know, if you can afford a $5 million house and second home in New York, you can afford a good tax attorney, and that's what they do. And they know how to manipulate the system. And why did Hochul say she's going to tax the $5 million house? Because most New Yorkers don't own a $5 million house. So the message is we're not coming after you, and we're going after the rich. And a lot of poor people like it when you go after the rich. And but I'm not saying the rich shouldn't pay their fair share. They should, and I'm not saying she shouldn't tax the rich. I'm not saying that the rich pay way too less of a tax as it is, and they get away with it because they own those tax attorneys, because they can shift their resources to Florida where there are no taxes. They can shift their resources to other countries and such that, like Apple and all the big companies have all their money in Ireland. You know, they don't pay any American tax, and the majority of Google and Facebook is all in Ireland, where they don't charge any tax, and that's where they hide their money. So these trillion-dollar companies are paying no tax, and they operate and function in this country and around the world, and contribute nothing, and just take. So, but they don't talk about that on the evening news, and if they do, it's just a blurb. It's not a headline news. You're not going to see in the headline, Apple pays no tax, you know, when they don't. So, um, but this is another pacifier in your mouth. We're taxing the rich, not you. But when you tax the rich, they'll up their prices at their store. They'll up their rent at their apartments that they own, and they have a way of getting the money from the poor to pay the tax. So the problem with it doesn't work. It has too many loopholes, and it makes a good headline like it is today on the news, especially on tax day, April 15th. There's no coincidence there. It's manufactured, you know. But and it's not going to affect this year. It'll affect next year after she's elected, re-elected, and all that. So, it's just, you have to really listen don't take words at their face value. I'm taxing the rich. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. Um, I don't know. It's just, it's funny. It's funny when you look at it and you see it the way I see it, because so many people just, I'm sure they said to their coworkers today, "Oh, I hope who's going to tax the rich," and that's as far as it went. And she's not taxing the rich. I mean, the money might come out of the rich person's bank account, but to pay that money, it's going to come out of your pocketbook, and everything comes around. Trickle down economics. It also trickles up as well as down. You know, and you don't hear about that one. You only hear about trickle down, not trickle up. you know, but look, even God's a slave. I mean, God's a slave to us, to this planet. He can't leave this planet. He's stuck here. He created us to give him something to do. And that's what directors and producers and writers that make movies and plays and books, they do it to entertain us, to give us something to do. How many millions of people went to the movie theater to watch Avatar, as an example? James Cameron made the movie and wrote the movie, but he gave us all something to do. He charged us to do it, and I'm not saying he shouldn't. It was a very good movie. All three of them were very good movies. But the whole idea is to give us something, pacify us again. And that's what God does with us. God created Avatar, God created James Cameron. So God did it all to entertain himself, because there's a lot of intricate parts in that movie, and behind the scenes with the green screen and all the CGI, everything that goes into making that movie, the sound, the IMAX, the 3D, everything. There's so many new technologies that never existed before the movie was made, and they had to create them just to create the movie and stuff like that. And God did all that, and God was busy. God had something to do. And it was no different with the dinosaurs. God created the dinosaurs, and dinosaurs gave him something to do. He came up with all the different types of dinosaurs, all the different designs of dinosaurs, like cars. How many different designs of cars are there, and colors and all those kinds of things with cars. And same with dinosaurs. Millions of different types of dinosaurs, ones you never heard of and never will hear of, but they still existed, and it gave God something to do. It gave something to do. You look at a butterfly and how intricate the colors are on the wings and stuff. God created that. He painted it, He's very artistic, and every color meant he had to change the paintbrush or do something, and it just kept him busy because he's bored off his ass. He's really, and that's how he keeps from being bored off his ass. He creates. He's the creator, and he creates this world that we live in, so, and like I said, if I make you my slave, I become your slave, and God made us his slave, and now he's our slave. It's just, there is no escape. There is no escape from it. And even God, like I said, can't escape it. What other option does he have? He gets tired. He gets bored. He got bored of the dinosaurs. So, asteroid took care of that. All the problems that were created with the dinosaurs eating everything, destroying the planet, kind of like what we're doing now, and but in a different way. And asteroid took care of that problem. And, you know, Yellowstone, super volcanoes, I don't even know them all, but there have been several super volcanoes where it just blacked out the sun and killed everything, you know. That's the way he does it, you know, and he'll do it again, you know. We're next on the list. And he'll get bored of us, you know, he'll get tired of watching The View, he'll get tired of doing whatever you do. So it's just a matter of time. And all the time, you know, like Shakespeare said, the world is a stage and we're just mere actors. And we get our 15 minutes of fame and we're done. And this is my 15 minutes of fame, and, you know, I'm the actor of the hour, and my ship will sail and I'll be done. But, and yours will come and go as well. And on the grand scale, we'll all come and go as well. And there'll be something else to replace us. You know, something else will take over, whether it be roaches or whatever, you know. But it's not a bad thing. It's not an evil thing. It's nature, nature's course, and what nature does. Everything goes extinct, and we're no different. You know, and most things that go extinct, it's their own fault. You know, whatever. They ate all their food. They overbred. They inbred. They did whatever they did to go extinct, and we're doing all that. So, you know, it's just, you can't blame God. God doesn't want to do it, but he doesn't have any choice either. Because look what we're doing to the air, the water, you know, and it needs a reboot. The earth needs a reboot, and you need to unplug it and start all over again, like you do your computer. And that's what you'll do. And maybe a handful of people will survive all the calamities that he puts forward for us. And maybe it'll be like a Mayan civilization that disappears, but, you know, people from that gene pool survived. You know, the Mayans and then the Aztecs and the Egyptians and in the city of Atlantis. You know, I don't see that being the next thing, but I see a whole world extinction coming. Not anytime soon. I don't know. It could be tomorrow. I mean, if there was an asteroid coming towards this Earth, they wouldn't tell you. It would just come. They would not tell you that you got 2 hours, and do what you want for 2 hours, because that's all you got. They're not going to do it, because they don't want the chaos. And so it's not going to happen. But it will happen. It's just that you're not going to know. It's like a nuclear bomb. They're not going to tell you it's coming. They're just going to let it come. And that's the way things are. So I can't say that it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I can't say it won't. Or it will. We don't know. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to any of us. And the people that fight over their taxes, fight over their position at work, or fight about their kids' homework, you know, you're just the actors in the stage acting your part. You know, the tax attorney does his part, the billionaire, millionaire does his part, the poor person in the street does his part. That's all it's about. And God's watching all of it, like you watch The View, or you watch the news, or you watch a movie, you know. And we're here for his entertainment, and that's it. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is what it is.